Well, here's the thing. If you're the Bills and you're looking around and you see, hey, Bengals, they've been eliminated, and the Ravens are having some trouble. The Ravens may not make the playoffs. Ravens may not make the playoffs here. And now also you're looking around and lo and behold, Kansas City Chiefs, they're eliminated from the playoffs. If you're the Bills, you're a Bills fan, and you're just somebody hanging around there, you got to be looking at yourself right now and just, if not now, when the hell is it going to happen? And welcome everybody to the Countdown. It's your boy King hanging out with you here from Stay Tuned Sports. Fantastic and a happy Wednesday to everybody. Usually we do this on Tuesday night now, but yesterday was a little special. Yesterday, of course, is Peppa Jack's birthday, as some of the people in the chat knew from Monday night's live game there with the Dolphins and the Steelers. By the way, Dolphins, we'll get to you in a second. Anyway, like I said, Countdown, Stay Tuned Sports, me, King. Me speak like caveman for now. If you like any part of this show, any part of this program, any part of this channel, please give us a like. That helps us out. I think it does tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. It may not be tremendously. I have no idea. Nope, nobody knows. But it might help us out. So if you could do that, I don't think it could hurt. So thank you very much if you go ahead and decide to hit that like button, hit that share button. I know that's going to help. Letting the world know that we exist, telling other people that we exist, hitting that button right now will help us out tremendously. And, of course, if you're here for the first time, wondering what the hell you're looking at, what the hell you're watching, before you figure any of that out, please hit the subscribe button. You can always unsubscribe later. I certainly hope you don't. But if you hit that subscribe button, it helps us out tremendously as we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers and hopefully being monetized there on a wonderful platform known as YouTube. Thank you so much. Also, if you want to help us out more directly, we have a link for our donation station and our merch store up in the top of the chat and also down in the description below. Okay, enough of all that. Just got the news today. Actually, just got the news a little while ago. It was earlier today. We know that Tua Tagovailoa, as some people have pronounced it, benched. No longer the starter. Quinn Ewers getting the start there for Miami for the rest of the season, which is just three games. So we'll see what happens there. Also, just came out, I want to say like a half hour ago. Half hour to an hour ago. I don't know exactly when it was. Tua's not even a backup. Zach Wilson will be backing up Quinn Ewers, and Tua is now knocked all the way down to the emergency quarterback role. It appears that the Dolphins are done with him, and of course, I think he's got a contract, something like same kind of injury guarantee or something. That remember when the Giants were sure they were just getting rid of Daniel Jones, and they knocked him down to emergency quarterback and just had him on a practice squad for like 2 weeks, and then finally got rid of him because he had like an injury guarantee if he gets injured and is on the roster past March. And, all that other stuff. So that seems like what the Dolphins are doing here. They're going to make sure Tua doesn't get injured, that he's not on the field, and so they don't have to pay him at all because they're planning on getting rid of him in the offseason. Big changes coming to Miami, and Godspeed, because that performance on Monday night was bad. Was bad. And now Miami's officially out of the playoffs as well. It was amazing they held on this long. I'll give them credit. It was amazing that Miami held on for this long into the season without being eliminated. Not like my Giants. We were the first ones eliminated, baby. We let the disappointment take over real early. We were like, us first, baby. We're out first. Anyway, so we have all that. That's some breaking news there. We're going to make this one real quick, short and sweet, because it is White People Taco Wednesday. And I'm excited to get to my white people tacos. So let's jump on over to the vertical board. Alrighty, here we are. And let's first, as always, as we do every single time we do this episode, every time we do this show, the countdown, where we're counting down the power rankings, let us count down the Booty Cheeks 5. As we see who right now is the worst in the NFL. As you see, down in Hell's Hell, which keeps on getting renamed, You could see even the fires of hell peeking beyond the blinders there. But let's see, who do we have in the Booty Cheeks 5 this week? At 28, it is the Tennessee Titans, up 2 spots from last week. Even though they lost, they played a hell of a competitive game, competitive-ish, against the San Francisco 49ers. Like what I saw. Again, Cam Ward is there's something there. Whether you wanted to think it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you like Miami, don't like Miami, whatever case is, there's something there with Cam Ward. There's something to build around there. And excited to see what happens down in Tennessee. It's going to be one of the more desirable spots between them and the Giants, simply because of the quarterback position, of who wants to get a coaching job there. I 100% think they're going to be a lot better next year. But we'll see. But right now, Tennessee winning a game 2-12, up to number 28 in the Booty Cheeks 5, and number 29. It's weird to talk positive about a team in the Booty Cheeks 5, but I'll do that for the Tennessee Titans. 29, you got the New York Giants, no change there. They get another loss against Washington, and it's just time to cruise to the end. It's just time to put it in cruise control. It seems like everybody on the defense seems to have given up. Nobody wants to be there. Dexter Lawrence doesn't want to be there. Nobody on the outside of Brian Burns, nobody on that Giants defense wants to be there. Hard to blame him. Hard to blame him as well. But it's just the offense is weird. I don't know why they keep on calling these designed quarterback runs for your quarterback that has a bunch of concussions as it is already, or even concussion reviews. Like he had another concussion review in this game. The referees forced him to go out and get a concussion review, which turned out to be nothing but he missed 2 plays. And the Giants ended up not scoring on that particular drive. I don't know, like, why are you continuing to do that if you are Mike Kafka and that team? Maybe because you don't give a shit. Maybe because you know you're not going to be there. You're not going to be the head coach. You're not going to get anything like that. So you're like, screw it. Fuck him. Throw him head first into the defensive line. See what happens. Like maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But yeah, Giants, number 29, that's where they are. That's where they're going to stay for this week. Number 30, the New York Jetropolitans. They come back into the Booty Cheeks. They've been in and out of the Booty Cheeks all year. They've been a relatively regular team there. They popped out of there a couple times. Again, they had won 3 or 4, 3 straight. What was it? Was that actually 3 straight they won? I think so. And it was like, okay, well, move them out. See what happens. Maybe they continue that streak. That has not happened. And they get absolutely mud stomped by the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. And it's just, granted, was starting Brady Cook. It wasn't great. But, take that all into consideration. The Jets are just bad. The defense is bad. They fired their defensive coordinator, Wilkes. He's gone. Again, Aaron Glenn is a defensive guy too, so it's kind of weird that he's, defensive coordinator's gone. Aaron Glenn, who is your defensive coach, who was the defensive coordinator last year, could not get. This team has no interceptions this season. This team is, the Jets defense is on paper should be one of the better defenses, and it's just not. It's just not. So the Jets down to 30. Number 31, by the way, shout out to Elos in the chat. Great to see you, Paul. Great to see you in the chat as well. Sorry about your Colts, brother. Again, Rivers, man, a hell of an effort. And he gave it one hell of a shot in that game. Let's see if maybe another week under, full practices and things like that, maybe the Colts will get better. We'll find out. They're playing San Francisco. So we'll find out definitely what's going to happen here. At 31, the Browns. It's just bad. Again, it feels like there needs to be a massive rebuild in Cleveland. They don't have for a team that has all the quarterbacks. They have no quarterbacks. Shedeur Sanders just ain't it. Maybe Dylan Gabriel is when he is healthy. And maybe they decide to give him more of a shot. That could be. But for right now, like it's not great in Cleveland, and it rarely ever is, apparently. But the Cleveland Browns, they are at 31 and at 32, sitting in hell's hell. When you see the fire of Hades there tickling the Browns right in the taint there, it's not a surprise, and I don't think it's going to be a surprise the rest of the way out. I just realized, too, that I do have to call one more Raiders game because the Giants play the Raiders. And I really, 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 really don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. ELS in the chat says the Browns need to destroy everything, staff and players. They need to go back to stage one and just like you're rebuilding a expansion team. I've said that about the Giants many times, ELS. But yes, back to the Raiders. Shut out by the Eagles. Again, maybe not the most surprising result considering even the Eagles, who have been having a bit of locker room tension. They had their own little losing streak going there. A lot of tension there around Philadelphia. The team, the defense, Tua, Jalen Hurts, and the offense, and whether their offensive coordinator and all of that. They're like, if this was a time to maybe get the Eagles or, maybe even give them a good game, something. This was going to be the game for the Raiders to do that. And but I said, even looking at all that with the Eagles, this was the Eagles' get-right game. And they did get right against this Raiders team who is just so bad. Now sitting there at 2-12, tied with the Giants and the Titans for the worst record in the NFL. And they're just so bad at football. They are just so bad at football. They hurt to watch as a football team. I can't. And that the thing that's a shame about it is that the Giants are probably going to end up winning that game against the Raiders because the Raiders are so bad that the Giants are indeed not. They're going to play themselves out of the number one spot. But I mean, nobody on that team cares. Like the coaches don't care. The players don't care. Like I said all the time, the players and coaches don't give a shit. Why would Kafka go ahead and tank that game with the Raiders? He's not going to be there. He doesn't give a shit. He might have a job with the Raiders next year. Maybe he wants to do that. Maybe he wants to help the Raiders out as much as he can. I have no idea. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But Raiders, they are in hell's hell. They are in the hell's basement, the hell below hell. They're in Tartarus. They're anything you want to think of. They are in just the absolute worst misery of NFL hell. And that is going to seal up there your booty cheeks. 5, the Titans at 28. The Giants at 29. The Jets pop back in at number 30. Sitting there at 3-11. The Browns stay a leg above 4 at 31. And, of course, the Raiders at number 32. Hell's hell. The worst team in the NFL. And it's been several weeks going in for the Raiders. And I don't think it's going to get any better as we move on. So we're done with the booty cheeks. Done with the shit. And it's going to be time to look at who we have in the top 12. Looking at the chat over here, ELS says the Raiders are just chilling with Satan himself. Sounds like Gino is going to start this week for the Raiders, says our good friend ELS in the chat. Crafty in the chat, great to see you. He says, what's up? What is up with you, my brother? Great to see you. All that's good. All that's fun. Let's see, though, who we have in our top 12. Dropping it down here. We've got 1 through 12 covered up after week 15. Let's just jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, number 12, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego, or the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles, whichever we want to look at it. 10-4. Again, one of those, when it's getting down to these spots, 11, 12, 13, 14, the spots just in, just out of the 12, it's like, who do I put in? What am I going to put in? I'm not sure, but the Chargers, sitting still in a decent spot. They're still within striking distance of the Broncos. They're sitting at 10-4. Not out of the division race, not like the Chiefs, unfortunately. And I do say unfortunately, man. I think some of the people are like, everybody's like, oh my God, Dynasty's over. Yay, Chiefs are done. It's like, dude, we just watched the team make the playoffs for 10 straight years, or 9 straight years, whatever it was. For the last 7 straight years, make an AFC championship game at least. The worst they finished in the last 7 years was an AFC championship. That's a level of excellence that I don't care if you love or hate them, man. You have to appreciate that when you can. And I get a lot of people don't like them either because of, they're either rivals of the team, like if they're Broncos fan or Raiders fan or Chargers fan. I get that. I get it. I understand it. But I'm actually a little sad. I'm a little sad that we're not going to have the Chiefs in the play. Plus, we don't get to see Taylor Swift as much, so that's also another bad thing. But, Paul in the chat says, I just saw who got benched for the Dolphins. Yeah, dude, it's been it's not been a great 36 hours for Tua Tag Vilea. It's not been a great time for him. But yeah, so the Chargers right now sitting second in the AFC West. Like I said, still got a shot against those Denver Broncos, and they might just get a chance to win that division, but it's looking more and more likely that they will probably make the playoffs in the AFC if they keep winning. Again, they're not winning great, but they're winning well enough. Chargers at number 12. Number 11. Got the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs opponent in the Super Bowl last year, the Philadelphia Eagles. I saw somebody talking about the Chiefs in the chat, and my brain didn't work right. But yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles, they pop back in for the first time in a while. They're back into the top 12 at 9-5. A thorough routing of the Raiders, the most quintessential get-right game that a team could have. And boy, did the Eagles need a get-right game. They got it. It looks like now with Dallas losing, they are clearly going to be the NFC East champions. They'd have to lose out. Dallas would have to win out for that to change. So it looks like the Eagles are going to be the first back-to-back NFC East champions since 2004, when it was the Philadelphia Eagles who was the last NFC East team to win back-to-back division championships. So we'll see what happens with that. But it seems like if you have a problem, if you're not playing particularly well, pull on the Raiders, baby, and they'll go ahead and fix all your problems. The Eagles looked great. That to the point where they even had to put in Tanner McKee because they were just blowing the Raiders out so bad they didn't want to hurt all their starters. So with that, the Eagles back into the top 12 at number 11. Number 10, the Green Bay Packers, they drop 6 spots down to number 10. 9-4-1 for the Green Bay Packers as they go into Mile High, and it looks like they're going back and forth with the Denver Broncos. They're looking like, hey, all right, it's shaky but not bad. They're staying with them. They're keeping pace. And then it looks like, they might be able to start blowing this game wide open here. Oh no, looks like the Packers really got something there. And then I think they went and they tried to bite off a little bit too much more, a little more than they could chew, if I could actually get that saying correct. It looks like they tried to bite off more than they could chew, and they ended up choking on it. They threw a deep, deep ball to Christian Watson. He ended up getting hurt. Now, it doesn't look like he's hurt long-term. I believe he practiced today. So that is, good news for the Packers. What's not so good news, Micah Parsons tore an ACL, out for the year. That happened in that game as well. And then the Packers just absolutely collapsed in the second half against the Denver Broncos in what was looking like going to be a promising game, a good back-and-forth game turned out to be the Broncos asserting themselves over the Green Bay Packers. Now, you could blame it on the injuries. You could blame it on poor play calling. You could blame it on a couple other different things there. But at the end of the day, the Packers had the chance. They had their chance to keep their foot on the throat of the Broncos if they just kept on doing what they were doing. I thought going for that huge, deep pass on first down on that second drive of the first half where you had scored a touchdown on that last one. You were looking good. This one, you had a chance to really make a good drive and kill some clock even though it's the third quarter, you could grind, keep that Broncos defense on the field, grind, get another touchdown, and really put yourself out in front. I think they got a little too greedy, and that's what happened. Like, it feels like you want to go up to Matt LaFleur, shake him, and be like, "This is not Madden. Stop playing the game. Stop calling the game as if you're playing goddamn Madden. This is not how this goes." But that is what it is, and now the Packers down 6 spots to number 10. That's where I have them in my. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is my personal top 12 picks. I know you might disagree with some placements. You might not like where I put some teams or put other teams, or maybe your team is not as high or as low as you think it should be. I know some people would never think their team's supposed to be low unless you're a Giants fan. We know our team sucks. This is my list. So I make up the arbitrary rules in my head. It's just all what I feel like I want to do, and that's what I often say. So people who get angry about it, and there's some people who do get angry about it, because I posted it early, I believe, in the Tom Grossi Discord server, and people got angry. People were getting angry at me. They're like, this team is too low. This team is too high. How do you have this team there? That's not that. I was like, at the end of the day, and this goes to everybody who watches this, this is my list, so fuck you. You don't like it? Make your own list. That's what I say. In the nicest way possible. And I do mean that in the nicest way possible. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to, stop alienating us. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying. It's one of those things where what's the reason why you put this team up there? Because fuck you, that's why. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I'm not an analytics guy. Like I said, I've said this a million times on this show. I'm not an analytics guy. I'm a fat guy, drinks too much coffee, who lives in New Jersey. That's all I do. That's all I do. There's so many other ones out there that do that. Well, the numbers say, and this, if you look at the PFF rate, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I go by the eyeball test. Why? Because that's what I used to watch the games. And these eyeballs ain't that great, as you can tell. But it's just what I call. Number nine. The Buffalo Bills. They're up a spot, up one after their incredible comeback victory over the New England Patriots. The Patriots, I believe at one point in the game, were up 21-0 over the Bills. At home, they were at Gillette in Foxborough. They had it all in front of them. And then you want just another big collapse there by the Patriots and a chance to close out the division, a chance to really cement yourself as the best team in the AFC. And for a half of football, it looked like they were doing that. And then Josh Allen put on his superhero cape, let the world know that he absolutely and deeply cream-pied Haley Steinfeld, in which now she will be having his baby, which is only right. They're married, so, that's what you do. Be fruitful and multiply, that whole thing. And went out there, and then he just absolutely cream-pied the Patriots right in the face. I gotta stop using these terms. This is terrible. I'm trying to get better, YouTube. Shut up. Yeah, it was just Josh Allen came out and did Josh Allen shit, and keeps the Bills alive for the AFC East. So the Patriots have not sealed it up yet. And again, like I mentioned on the open for the show here, if you're the Bills, the road has never been clearer to getting to the Super Bowl. You might not have had what you feel is maybe the best season, or even with the 4 losses, you feel like you've been a little bit inconsistent. Maybe the offense hasn't been as nearly efficient as you had hoped it would be. Maybe the defense is not as stingy as you would like it, and one way or the other. But you're still 10-4, and now you're going to be entering the playoffs with no Chiefs, with no Bengals, maybe possibly no Ravens. This is if you want to get to the dance, this might be your chance. This might be your year. And if you don't do it now, when? Like, if at this point, if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, if it's not now, then when? That's what you have to look at that and see that. Paul in chat says, Patriots' schedule was the weakest in the NFL. I don't think they will be in the AFC Championship game this year. Ooh. Paul saying the Patriots might be paper champions, might be just paper tigers. I don't know. We'll see. Paper Patriots, if you will. Crafty says there are times when Josh Allen just can't be contained. Haley knows that, and now the Patriots know that as well, Crafty. Paul in chat says PFF is the most overrated stats deliverers, whatever, in the NFL. I agree. A lot of people do as well. I think, I think they sniff their own farts way too much over there. So that is what it is. Crafty says, well, Haley revealed to Josh that she was pregnant during halftime, and he said, oh, shit, I need to do contract money. That's funny. That's actually pretty funny. Lloyd says, I think the Lions do better next, I'm guessing next year, maybe? I guess that's what that's meant to be. Oh, do I not have them? I didn't have it on anyway. I see that Lloyd said Irish isn't in there yet. But I did see that. Make sure that you have live chat, not top chat on. That's another big thing there for everybody there in our chat. Number 8. The Bears. Again, they have a massive win over the Cleveland Browns. Not really massive, just that they blew out the Browns. I would have liked to maybe have moved them up a little bit more, down, everything like that. But considering that it was a blowout of the Browns are ass. And just how some of the other teams kind of shook out near the top, it felt like this was a spot where the Bears, unfortunately for me, I was like, I don't know if I could really move them up based on the opponent and based where everybody else was and who they had played and how they had played. And clearly I wasn't going to move the Bears down. But the Bears sitting at 10-4. Who would? I mean, if you're a Bears fan, how good was this? What a great season this has been. What a surprise. Just 1 year with Ben Johnson. And you started off, what was it? 1-2 to start the season? And now here you are. You're thinking, oh, maybe here we go again. We just can't win big ones. We can't. We blew the game against the Vikings early on Monday night. We did. Oh God. Oh, this is. And now here you go, just rattling off wins. You've got 9 straight wins or something like that. Yeah, like the Bears. Or 9 out of 10, because you had lost to the Packers the other day. So I mean, like the Bears have been maybe one of the nicer surprises of this NFL season. And again, get back on a winning track there against the Browns. At number 8, the Bears 10-4, no change, not up, not down, just stay like before. Number 7, the Denver Broncos. I got them up 2 spots. People are going to sit there and say, King, why you have them so low? Listen, I moved them up 2 spots. They had an impressive second half once Christian Watson and Micah Parsons got injured and were out of the game for the Packers. And they were able to take advantage of that. And again, that's not to detract from anybody. I moved them up 2 spots. I think it was a good come-from-behind win. Again, not a full 60-minute game from the Broncos, from Bo Nix, from that defense. Riley Moss, he had a pick in that game, but he also had another pass interference that cost a massive amount of yardage for his team, and he can't seem to get out of his own way when it comes to the pass interference calls. But the Broncos are still winning a lot of these games by hook or by crook. And I know people make, well, you've been saying they're frauds the whole time, and now they win a game against a team that you thought might have been, like, I understand that. I understand that. But, again, I do everything by the eyeball test. And if you do the eyeball test, too, if you just watch these games, if you're watching Denver Broncos, what about them to you says they're a 1, 2, or 3 team in the NFL? And again, this is what I mean. Like, this is a power ranking. If you wanted me to put them up at 1, 2, or 3, then I would just it would be a record ranking, which would just be the record. If you just want me to go through the standings, I'll fucking do that. I mean, that just seems what it is. Why do that? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to base my top 12 on who I think is playing the best ball, who looks the best, who I think has the best chances to win. on top of all those other aspects of like, would this team beat this other team at a neutral site, or all those other criteria that some people use. I use that coming or going. But I also think that's true too. I think every team that I have ranked above the Broncos on my list here would beat the Broncos at a neutral site, or even not. Even if it was at Mile High, I would still give these teams above the Broncos a better than decent chance, a better than 50% chance of beating the Broncos. I do. Crafty, Crafty in the chat says the Packers could slip without Parsons, and maybe Watson with tough games upcoming with the Bears and Rhodes. But it looks like Watson is going to be okay for the Packers. He's practicing already, so he seems to be good. Crafty in the chat says Denver has one of the best defenses in the league, maybe second only to the Texans. But do they really? Like, if you look at the stats, I mean, the stats are going to say one thing. But watching these games, like watching that game against the Packers, that is not one of the best defenses in the league that I saw. That's just me. I'm sorry. Again, you're dumb. You know what you're talking about. Yes. Okay. I mean, that's fine. I understand that. I'm not saying that, again, I'm not saying what I'm saying is right. I'm saying this is my opinion. My opinion on the Broncos is low. I'm sorry. The Broncos strike me as that team that is, they're going to get the number one seed in the AFC. They're gonna be there. They're gonna have the bye. Everybody's gonna be excited. They're gonna have that divisional home game, and they're gonna be lining up, and they're gonna find out who they're gonna play. They're gonna have that other team come in, and whoever comes in there after having played on Wild Card Weekend and played all season, they're gonna go into Denver, and Denver's spirits are gonna be high. The fans are gonna be there. Everybody's gonna be an orange crush in full effect. Yeah, let's go, and that visiting playoff team is gonna absolutely mudhole this Denver Broncos team. That's what it feels like. There's nothing about this Broncos team that tells me they look like they're ready for an AFC championship, because they don't. That's just me. My opinion. I could be wrong, and most likely I'm wrong, but that's fine. And I'm sure there's Broncos fans out there that are to be pissed, and they'll see this and they'll be like, look at this fat, bald piece of shit. Doesn't know what he's talking about. And they're probably right on a lot of those counts. Number 6, the Houston Texans. I have them staying where they are before. Again, they blew out a team that they should have in the Arizona Cardinals, beat them by 40-20 in Glendale, just on the outskirts of Phoenix, Arizona. And the Texans, they maintain their momentum, sitting there now at 9-5, just hanging with the Jacksonville Jaguars into the AFC South. They now take over and jump over the Colts, with the Colts having lost. The Colts have dropped out of the top 12 now for the first time in a very long time, since I think week 3 or 4 here on the chat here. Snowman Multimedia in the chat says, hey, great to see you, brother. Happy to see you in here. Thank you. Snowman says, what's up? Checking in from Indiana, supporting the Colts and the 49ers. We'll see. We'll see where the Niners are. Again, I just mentioned the Colts not in here for the first time, with the Texans having jumping them. And boy, the Texans defense. Now here's a team, if I can pull from Collinsworth here. The Texans strike me as a team that they can get to. They can make a deep playoff run just with the defense. And also, C.J. Stroud's starting to play a little bit better. He's starting to get a little bit more, maybe a little bit just more confident in the offense. Maybe he's just starting to feel it, getting that groove, if you will. Maybe that's the case. But it feels like, that this is, the Texans are going to be one of those teams that you're in the AFC, man, you do not want to see this team in the playoffs. And it's starting to look more and more like the Texans will definitely be making the playoffs in the AFC one way or another. Number 5, we're getting to the top 5 here, ladies and gentlemen. And there they are, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the team that is right above the Texans in the AFC South. I have the Jaguars making a jump. They jump up 2 spots. And again, people are going to say, King, but they beat a team they were supposed to beat too, in the Jets. And they did, and they mollywopped the Jets. I think the difference here is this is for the first time in a while where the Jaguars have, for a couple of games now, 2 or 3 games now, have been consistent in their play on offense, on defense, on special teams, where they look like, oh, if they can do this week in, week out, if Trevor Lawrence can do this week in, week out, and Trevor Lawrence had a monster game. What do you have? 5 passing touchdowns. He was responsible for 6 touchdowns. Like, Trevor Lawrence had an amazing game. And Trevor Lawrence, I have not been the biggest fan of Trevor Lawrence here on this particular channel. But if the Jaguars continue to play the way they're playing, yeah, they are going to have they're one of those teams that could be dangerous and a dark horse where you didn't think they were going to be. Crafty in the chat says the Jaguars are really the sleeper sneaker team of the season. That was my whole thing. Is like, if they could get consistent, I would really start to believe in them and think, hey, maybe they got something there. Liam Cohen seems to have really got something there. And the Jaguars, 10-4, sitting at number 5 in my power rankings. I did not think I would. Remember, Jimbo wouldn't get them out of his booty cheeks 5 in the start of the season. Jimbo refused. He was just, the Jaguars suck. Jaguars are going to suck. Jaguars are terrible. Jaguars are going to suck. And now this is where we are. Paul in the chat says, I don't trust Trevor yet. He had a real breakout game against the Jets, but it was the Jets. Everybody can have that. He's been fairly more consistent these last couple games, though. I'm not saying he's been a world beater, but he's been better. If he can continue that way, it could get interesting. Could get interesting there in the AFC. Pardon me. Number 4, the San Francisco 49ers. Sitting at 10-4. They moved up one spot here after their win against the Tennessee Titans again. It was against the Titans, so there is that. You take that into account. And how I mentioned the Titans, I moved them up for how they performed against these 49ers. But again, Brock Purdy, amazing game. You go look at the stats, and again, I already said I'm not a stats guy, but look at the stats, great stats. And this Niners team, what they've been able to do with the injury. Now, again, they're not the most injured team anymore, but they're still among the most injured teams. So they don't have the title, but they're still in the running still for the most injured team in the NFL. And most key pieces, I think. They have lost a lot of key pieces, have the 49ers. And for longer than most other teams. They've been without Bosa for a large part of this season. They've been without, Warner. They haven't had Warner for a large part of this season. Yet they're still, their offensive pieces have been missing and came back. Purdy was out for a while, and while he was out, Mac Jones was killing it to the point where people were saying, well, don't take Mac Jones out. Keep Purdy out. Let Mac Jones play. But then Purdy comes back, and he has one iffy game, but since then he's been back to being Brock Purdy, playing very well, and again had a monster game this game against the Titans. It really boggles the mind with the 49ers. They have built such good depth there, and that NFC West, that was a division that the 49ers could have easily, after all the injuries, been like, kind of like they were last year, where it was like, screw it, we're done. We're punting this season, and we're going to look forward to the next season because we're just so injured, and we don't have that. And they didn't do that. They're 10-4. For that team to be 10-4, I think is pretty incredible. And they're number 4 on the power rankings. That's where I have them. Crafty says, to be fair, I was predicting this would be Trevor's last year with the Jaguars after his early season struggles. I was going to say, if he could turn it around at the end of the season, Jaguars have something there. At number 3, after we've shown Niners at 4. Number 3, dropping 2 spots after their loss to the Buffalo Bills, in which they were in firm control. They were up 21-0 at this point. At one point in this game, they were up 21-0 against Mr. Haley Steinfeld and the Buffalo Bills. At home, with a chance to lock up your first AFC East Division championship in 5 years. Oh, it was set up for him. Daddy's home, everybody. Don't worry about it. The Patriots back on top. And then you blew it. You had to go over there. Got too cocky in your head and you blew it. And that's what happens. And I think, if they had won, I think clearly Patriots should still be the number one team in these rankings. But what an absolute collapse in New England by the Patriots, now splitting the series with Buffalo, and now the AFC East is in turmoil. Not turmoil, but it's in play for both the Bills and the Patriots. Can the Patriots still hold off the Bills? They still have a game up on them. So if the Patriots win out, it doesn't matter. And they have several easy games, I think. I know they're playing the Jets. Don't they have the Dolphins still to play? It's not entirely hard games. So we'll see. But the Patriots there, I move them down 2 spots. Paul says New England's are frauds, but next year look out. I don't think New England's the way I don't see that. And that was another thing. A lot of people in the Grossi server were saying that about my picks. And saying that the Broncos and the Patriots should have been flipped. I was like, in what world are we saying that? Like, come on. Like the Broncos, I'm sorry. I don't think so. I don't think so. Paul says number one easiest schedule in the NFL. Yeah, but you still have to beat the teams on your schedule. Like, this is what I'm saying, is like, just because it's quote unquote the easiest, these are still NFL teams out there that you're playing. Other than the Raiders. Raiders maybe don't qualify. But like, easy schedule. Like, look at the Saints. If you played the Saints, you'd say, oh, playing the Saints, that's on a strength of schedule, it's going to be like, oh, the Saints were an easy game. Watch any of the games the Saints have played this year. Ask any of those teams that played the Saints if that was an easy game. They're not. Ask the Buccaneers if having the Saints on your schedule is an easy schedule. Ask the Panthers. Ask the Bills. The Saints almost beat the Bills in Buffalo earlier this year. Like, that's why I say I go more by my eyeballs than, well, strength of schedule, and if you look at combined winning percentage, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I do what the eyeballs say. And the eyeballs say the Patriots, they lap the Broncos. I'm sorry, they do. Number two, not changing anywhere. That is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. Boy, what a game we got coming up. We got a great game coming up tomorrow, Thursday night. The Seattle Seahawks, the Los Angeles Chargers. That game's happening in Seattle, I believe. Now, the game they played before, Sam Darnold threw 5 interceptions in that game, I believe, against the Rams, and the Rams were able to go ahead and get the victory. Against the Seahawks, you'd be surprised. Hey, listen, 5 turnovers. Of course the Rams won. Yeah, but the Rams only won by 2 points, and that's with 5 interceptions from old Sam Darnold. If Sam Darnold doesn't throw 5 picks, do the Seahawks not only win that game and get dominant? Now, here's the other thing, too. It's looking like Devontae Adams will not be playing in that game, so that's a big weapon lost. Again, still not bad for the Rams when you have Puka Nacua right there. Doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. It's a nice little. You sit there and want to say backup Packers. It's not. Like, the Rams have 2 wide receiver ones playing for them. And Matthew Stafford has had a great season so far. So not going to be an easy game for the Seahawks by any means, but they're going to be at home. They're going to be wearing their color-shifting rivalry uniforms, which we'll see how they look. They could be cool. They could look like ass. We'll see what happens in the actual gameplay. But the Seattle Seahawks, after their win last week, sitting at 11-3, and I think they are. And a lot of people in Seattle, too, are complaining that, nobody's picking us. Nobody's been watching us. I want to tell the people of Seattle, if there's anybody from Seattle actually watching me, which I doubt. But if you are, and you're a Seahawks fan, I've been touting the Seahawks for a very long time this year, saying, man, this team, watch out. They're good. The defense is very good. Sam Darnold's been playing well outside of that one game with the Rams. Now, again, the Seahawks needed 6 field goals to beat the Colts and old man Phillip Rivers. So maybe that's probably why I didn't move them down. I didn't move them up. I kind of just left them where they were. But we're going to see they're going to be very tested. Obviously, this is the NFC West, baby. This is the NFC West on the line coming up here in this game on Thursday, and that's going to be fun. Crafty in the chat says the Seahawks could be starting without their starting left tackle. That's possible. Crafty also in the chat says 4 to 5 turnovers, and the Hawks still had a chance to pull out the game with a long field against the Rams. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I think this game on Thursday is going to be a real good fun one. And at number one, well, we just talked about it because it was the game that's coming up here. The Los Angeles Rams I have up 2 spots, taking over in the number 1 spot. And again, that can change as early as tomorrow when they take on the Seattle Seahawks for the lead in the NFC West. And here's the funny thing about this is that the Niners are still right there in the NFC West chase. Like, the Niners are not out in any way, shape, or form. So whatever happens in that game, we'll see what happens with the Niners. Like, again, the NFC West is amazing. And it just goes to show you how good they are. They have 3 of their 4 teams in the top 4 of the power rankings. They hold spots 1, 2, and 4. And I think that's fairly fair. I think it's fair. I think that's a fair assessment of how these teams in the NFC West have been playing. I really, really do. Sorry, Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals are the odd team out, unfortunately, in that scenario. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Stay Tuned Sports Countdown Power Rankings, top 12 Power Rankings after Week 15. The Rams back in the number 1 spot, up 2 spots from the week before. The Seahawks at number 2. The Patriots drop down to number 3. The Niners, they sit at 4. The Jaguars at 5. The Texans, also from the AFC South, at 6. The Broncos, who are right now the number 1 seed in the AFC, I have them as the number 7th power rank team because fuck you, that's why. The Bears sitting at 8. The Bills at 9. The Packers drop all the way down to 10. You have the Eagles back into the top 12 sitting at number 11. And because they felt like a 12, the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles sitting at 12 with a 10-4 record. AZ Band in the chat. I want to say that, right? Is that Bandit? I'm sorry, AZ Band, Arizona Bandit. I'll say that. Arizona Bandit in the chat says, why are the Broncos ranked so far down when they have the best record in the NFL? Because this isn't a record countdown. This is a power ranking countdown. I say this all the time. If it was based on records, I would just read the standings and then we'd be done in 5 minutes. I'm not doing that. This is a power ranking. This is how I feel each team, how good they actually are, and how they stack up against other teams in the NFL. And right now, Arizona Bandit, if I may call you Arizona. By the way, thank you for joining us here on the program and in the chat, Arizona Bandit. The reason I have the Broncos down there, and one of the main reasons is if you look at all the teams that I do have listed above them, I would say, using the criteria that I think they use for college football rankings a lot, which is on a neutral site field, if these 2 teams played, which one do you think would win? I think a lot of these teams that I have above them would win against the Denver Broncos, not only on a neutral site. I think some of those teams actually win in Denver. Like I have not been a big believer in the Denver Broncos, and having watched a few of their games this year on the live streams, and I still, now here we are after 15 weeks, I still don't think they've played a full 60-minute football game. I still don't think they're very I don't think they're very good for what they are. Now again, I think their defense is very good. I think the offense leaves a lot to be desired. I think there's some massive holes. I think that their defense does cover up a lot. And even then, like you look at Riley Moss, always, you can count on him for at least one pass interference call a game, if not multiple. And if not illegal contact or holding or something, he's always getting big flags, costly flags that cost that Broncos team. And they've been able to cover it up, and they've been able to, by hook or by crook, win a couple of these games. You look at what they've done, and how they were able to make that massive historic comeback against the Giants. You saw how they were able to come back against the Eagles. You saw some things like that where it took miracle comebacks, and in some cases some referees help, in the Eagles case, which I know some people might still be arguing. And I'm never going to argue on the side of the Eagles, but to be fair, there was a couple of calls, non-calls in that game that definitely would have changed the outcome. I just don't buy into the Broncos. That's why it's my top 12. And I say that all the time. But thank you anyway. That's a great question, Arizona Bandit. Thank you so much for joining us here. If you like any part of this channel, please hit that like button, hit that share button, and hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to 1,000. Thank you so much for joining us and for supporting the channel. ELS, he has given us his top 12, and I'll run through that quickly here for ELS. His top 12 goes, he's got the Steelers at 12. He's got the Chargers up at 11, Packers at 10, Broncos, he's got at 9, so he's got them even lower than I do. He's got the Bears at 8, 49ers he's got down at 7, Texans at 6, Jags at 5. He's got the Patriots at 4, he's got the Bills up at 3, the Seahawks at 2, and the Rams, ELS, has at number 1, so that's interesting. Paul in the chat says, I would switch the Texans and Jaguars, otherwise I was thinking about that because the Texans had beat the Jaguars early in the year from that massive comeback. And I don't disagree. I think if they play again, I think that's going to be another great game. Comes down to the wire, just like that game did. That was that was at Houston. That game was, and the Jaguars again, like I said, the last couple weeks now have definitely shown a lot more consistency on both sides of the ball. Now the Texans, Stroud I think has gotten better. But it really is that defense that's working for them. So I said that one is an easily coin flip one. I think you could have the Jaguars 5 and the Texans 6. I think you have the Texans 5 and the Jaguars 6. And I won't argue that. I have that set there as I have it. I gave the Jaguars a little extra nudge. But I think that's one you could easily flip-flop there, Paul. I don't disagree with that. Crafty says, in my opinion, the Rams and Hawks and Jaguars Denver are the biggest potential matchup in each conference, and we're getting them in the same weekend. I'm excited to see what happens with that Jaguar. We're gonna learn about how has Trevor Lawrence gotten better and more consistent, and how can he do against a very good elite NFL defense, and how do the Jaguars match up against what is now, record-wise, anyway, the best team in the AFC. If not the AFC, the NFL. I'd like to see that. I'm interested to see. I think that's going to be a fun one, and I think Thursday night's probably the game of the week with the Rams and the Seahawks. Excited for that. And, I mean, if you were looking at it from a college standpoint, that's number 1 versus number 2 playing on Thursday night. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good matchup. I think so, anyway. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's the countdown, and that's going to do it for this week. Again, thank you so much for joining us. My name is King. If you liked any part of the show, please hit that like button, hit that share button, and hit that subscribe button. If you want to help us out more directly, the link for our donation station and our merch store down in the description below. I will see you tomorrow night for that game. The Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks playing live from Newman Field in Seattle, Washington. It'll be a fun one. Be there or be square. And then Friday will be the Friday countdown, the Friday forecast. Friday countdown will be the Friday forecast, where we'll go over the rest of the games, and we will go ahead and look at all that, and then we'll get to Sunday. And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'll let you know what games we're going to be watching as we get further down into the week. By the way, my pick for Thursday, and I'll say it on the show now so that we know what it is. I'm gonna go with the home team. I'm gonna go with Seattle. I think it's gonna come down to like a last second field goal or something like that, and I'm gonna give it to the Seahawks. So Seahawks, I think, win in a tight one. That'll be my pick for Thursday night. Crafty says being square isn't so bad, especially if you're SpongeBob. And with that dad joke, we are going to be out of here. We'll leave you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. I'm about to have white people taco night, so I'm going to have a fantastic Wednesday. You have one too. Adios.